members of the press and the Nakuru County at large, the leadership of the Bunge la Wananchi, the Azimio leadership here in Nakuru. I wish to state as follows. First, we want to thank the Azimio leadership for coming out and reiterating the major points that they want to be addressed at the bipartisan table. The first information is about high cost of living, which I equally share as the movement for the sufuria. The second agenda is about reconstitution of the IEBC as a commission. The third agenda is about strengthening and stopping the executive interference with the political parties in Kenya. The third one is about auditing of the 2022 general elections. Let me say this. These four important points are very important in nature because they are issues that affects the Kenyan people. The reconstitution of IEBC means a lot to us as a people. First, it tries to explain that we need to have an independent body that conducts an elections and gives a credible results and announces the winner that all Kenyans will agree about. That is the information that we want to be dealt with amicably. Because it is out of these elections that we shed blood after the elections. It is out of these elections that we have found ourselves here today. We are here in this morgue today, bereaving with the family of John and Hussein simply because of agitating for what is supposed to be right after the elections of 2022 were bungled with. And it is for that reason that we are saying that we must have an independent body that discharges the mandate of that office and produce leaders that are pro-people, leaders that have been elected and validly elected by the people, from MCA, women rep, senator, MP, governor, up to the president. That we are saying categorically. Two, on the high cost of living, we want to say that we found ourselves in the streets as Azimio and Kenyans because we disagreed with the Kenya Kwanza government. That the election, the way they are conducting this issue and handling these affairs of this republic about high cost of living is not the very way that we expect it as Kenyan people. When we talk about high cost of living, we mean a lot. First, we mean about the additional 8% on top of the 8% 16 or 8% VAT on petroleum products. Currently, we have 16% or levy or VAT, which is really making this country not to be guided towards right direction. It is very unbearable for us as a people. For the border users, fuel prices have hiked. For those using vehicles, fuel is never attainable. So we are speaking about that. When we talk about fuel, we are talking about the cost of production. Because you need fuel, you need even fuel to take or to remove. Once you have removed your produce from your farm, you must carry them in your vehicles to transport them to different places. Even the millers themselves, they need fuel to operate in their companies. They need fuel to transport the byproducts. So fuel is very essential. Lastly, on the high cost of living, we want to tell William Samoei Ruto, when we talk about high cost of living, it does not only surround the fertilizer. We don't need fertilizer to put fuel on our vehicles. We don't need fertilizer to put fuel on our motorbikes. We need fertilizer is not the only cost of production. Land as a factor of production. You may have land, then you lack fertilizer, but you can end up tilling your land and even producing something out of the land. It is not a must that you have to use fertilizer. And on that fertilizer issue, Kenyans were given free fertilizer from the Russia. The 35,000 tons, where did that fertilizer go to? It is that fertilizer that you have turned into a business. That Kenya today is selling fertilizer at a cost of 3,500. Those fertilizers that were provided for freely is the fertilizer that you are selling. So issue of fertilizer, we are reducing it, or we are reducing it completely. Lastly, we are saying as supporters of the Azimio la Umoja movement and Kenyans, demonstrations, we will always be getting into the streets, provided for that Baba announces it. But I want to agree and concur with the chairperson of Azimio la Umoja movement here in Nakuru, that we should not relax while William Samoei Ruto has started campaigning already. We saw his tricks campaigning by the time Uhuru was in power. He campaigned for more than 4 years, which later made him to get into power. We want to tell the Azimio to start developing new tricks. We know that we are getting to the conversation about the points that we have given out. But let us do what the Azimio leadership here in Nakuru has said. Kindly, Baba, adopt this idea. As we are talking on the table, let us also meet in the streets and do our people's baraza. We need to start our people's baraza and people's assembly. That is why we congratulate the Bunges for engaging always very consistently on these matters. Bunges are always meeting to discuss matters that affect the country. As Azimio, proceed on with launching this new People's Assembly so that we proceed on with it. That we are requesting. And another one that we are saying, we don't want nusumkate. And this we are agreeing. Do you need nusumkate?
No.
We don't need handshake. Do we need handshake?
No.
The Nakuru residents does not want handshake. The Kenyans have said they don't need handshake. The supporters of Azimio have said they don't need handshake. Now we are telling William Samoei Ruto, where did you come with this conversation about handshake and nusumkate that you keep on telling us as Kenya Kwanza? It is very ironical that you keep on talking about nusumkate and handshake, and you are telling us that you don't need nusumkate and handshake, while on the other hand, you are pushing for the office of the opposition leader, which was somewhere in the BBI. You criticized BBI, you took it to court. Today you are the one supporting BBI. Today you are bringing BBI through backdoor, but the other day you said that you don't need BBI. This office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, the office of Musalia Mudavadi, we don't need that office. Don't tell us about that office.
Sure.
We don't need it. Do you need that office?
No.
We don't need it. Don't tell us that that office must be anchored in the Constitution. We don't need it. The issue touching on the two-thirds gender rule, that matter can be discussed in the National Assembly. It is not a matter of greater importance as we speak. We want these matters to be addressed. That matter can be discussed collectively. Because after all, the Azimio does not dispute anything touching on the women. The Azimio is supporting the two-third gender rule. The Kenya Kwanza is also supporting the Kenya Kwanza the two-third gender rule. Therefore, that you can discuss in the National Assembly and the Senate. And we do away with it. Lastly, on the point that you are saying that with you support the constitution of the IBC, while on the other hand, you don't want to sit down with the Azimio so that you discuss it. These matters are very important and they must be discussed. We are requesting now, as Sufuria movement and the Bunge la Wananchi, that Baba, please listen to us. We've sat down with the Bunge leadership and the Sufuria, and we have agreed that kindly give us some place at the national dialogue table. The Sufuria movement just needs 2 slots, and the Bunge la Wananchi also needs 2 slots, so that they also sit at the top and make sure that they also discuss those important points there, so that they can give back the information on what has been discussed there. We want to sit there. True or false? We want to sit there so that we form part of the engagement that are on the table. Thank you, and may God bless you.